We are live.
Live. What's
Oot,
up?
oot, 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 oot.
How do I see the chats and days? How are you guys doing? I want a
Ow.
cat.
Hey, friends. We are live. What is up? All right, Will, Sam, how's it going?
Oh, sorry. Turn off.
It's February 9th. Oh, and that's the stream.
Yeah, it's a stream on
We are
everybody.
in fact live.
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Will, you've been boxing. Sam is prepping for a hashtag van life trip to
Hashtag ban life.
Mexico.
Hashtag.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I have just been, settling into the house, putting up more photos on the wall. So,
Dude, those
Yeah.
prints came out beautiful. Those looked really nice.
yeah, man, I wish I could. Can I like somehow get connected to my phone or something? Because I wish
Yeah,
I
I
could
think you
take you
can
around.
on Ecamm, you can like make your phone. You can switch to your phone.
Hmm.
I think you have to have previously set that up. Maybe though.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I get close and I'm using Ecamm, my phone's like, "Do you want to use this as a camera?" I'm not sure that
Yes,
I want to do
please.
that.
Hmm. I don't know, but maybe I could add myself as a guest. Oh, that's probably what I could do.
Ooh.
Well, anyways, if you're tuning in, if you're here live, let us know if you're here. Let us know if we all sound good. If
Yeah. Where are you watching from? What kind of camera are you using? Say hello.
What is your favorite kind of photography? I'm tired of knowing people's cameras. I want to know
yeah.
like what kind of photography are we into today? And the
Ooh.
most
Mm,
popular we'll talk about. Otherwise, we're not talking about it.
that's
Hey
good.
Bob.
Sam just
Hey
said,
Bob's here.
"Hey Bob. Hey Shutterbug."
Shutterbug. That's a great a great name for a photographer, Shutterbug.
I real quick. I don't know if you guys have been watching my like in-depth discussion on our supporter section on Photography and Friends that you can join for only $5 a month. But in that section, we've been deep diving into headshots with my lighting setup and backgrounds and other photographers' headshots. And there's just endless amounts of questions for it, and I love it. And I'm actually doing 5 more headshots tomorrow. It looks like. Uh, with the same setup. So if you guys have any questions or want to know anything about that, ask later during the Q&A.
I am that. Yeah, that sounds good. I am setting up my camera. There's like an audio. How do I?
I'm just trying to like create talking while you're figuring stuff out. I don't know.
Do you
I'm
see me
trying to
now?
stall.
Can you see my
Oh, whoa,
camera?
look at that. I can see your camera. I can see us.
Okay.
Okay.
Your
Prince.
Prince,
screen.
Are you still
Oh,
with me?
you got an echo going.
We're still with
oh,
you, but you're definitely echoing.
I'm gonna go leave the room.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, here's
Phil
Will's prints or Will's
left.
photos.
Oh, cool.
Well, we're gonna go down a memory lane with Will. No, but here's like a print that from the kids. That's pretty cool.
That's great. Look at that lighting.
Yeah. Oh, here's another Will classic.
Oh, that is a classic. You
That's a
might be my
Phil
most
classic.
photographed couple.
Let's see. Yeah, there's photos all over the place. Here's a canvas. This is that soundproofing canvas I was telling you guys about. A couple artsy photos. Anyways, I'll show you one more, then we'll get back to it and we'll start this actual live stream. Sorry, guys.
Wow. Yeah.
That one was from Bay. What is it? Bay Photo Lab.
Dude, that looks awesome. You probably can't hear me.
Bayphoto's the best. I love Bayphoto.
I can actually hear you guys too.
Oh, you can. Okay. That's so cool. I love that
Yeah.
you cropped the to a 1x1 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got you got crop photos.
Sorry, everyone. And then those are on my wall over there. Ugh. Okay, hang this up. Let's get to it.
Whoa, hey, you're
Oh,
back.
there I am.
And that was a tour of Phil's house.
Yeah. All right. What type of photography do people like that are watching?
We got a
People like
couple of
landscape. There's a lot of
uh,
landscape people on here.
landscape, seascape. That's a good one.
Oh, that's
Seascape.
specific.
I feel like seascape's just a subsection of landscape, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Speaking of scapes, we are going to talk about cityscapes. Let's bring up some of those
Nice
photos
segue.
to start off. That's in the that is in our Photography and Friends Plus community. This is our photo challenge from last week. So this is what we're going to do. This is how we are going to do it, friends. Let's bring that up. Okay, so every week we are posting a new challenge. And so this week we posted the frame within a frame challenge. So we've got a bunch of people posting photos for that, which is awesome. And then last week it worked out perfectly because we had our interview with Anthony about wildlife photography and all kinds of stuff, which was great, which let us kind of delay a week in checking out the submissions to the Cityscape photo challenge. So let's check those out. If you are new to it, who watching right now has posted to the Cityscape photo challenge, we want to make sure we talk to you about your photo. But this is where you post your photos for actually getting critique. It's not necessary, not required, but it's free to join the Plus community now.
Free 99.
Free 99. That's $0 and free cents. So I'm just gonna go through some of these.
Let's go.
This is a photo. Oh wait, are you seeing? Yes, you're seeing this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's make us smaller because we don't matter.
You don't need to see us.
Photographers. The photography matters. This was a post from Julie. Okay, we got some Ian, Ryan, Bill. Oh, Julie. Okay, so Julie, you are here and you're watching. This is cool. Where is this? It said, oh, in Chile.
Ooh, Chiloé. I love Chiloé.
Have you been there, Sam?
I have. Chiloé, so if you go down Chile, and basically there's one point where it sort of curves in, and right before you get into the Patagonia Aysén region of southern Patagonia, Chiloé is this rather large island that I believe is Darwin actually has a research camp there, and really interesting, unique place, amazing people. There's nothing quite like Chiloé that I've ever experienced. I love Chiloé. That's so cool.
Yeah, I love the sort of snaking road that you see here and the colors. That's what I remember. I didn't go to Chiloé, but I went to what is it, Valparaiso, and that
Valpo.
place. Yeah, that place had so much color in there. And what's Viña del Mar? That's the city that's next to it. Yeah, cool photo.
Went and saw Pablo Neruda's places, right?
Yeah.
I love the color. The colors are awesome. I think that's what makes it so unique too. It's just like a paintbrush.
Do you like seeing the horizon, or do you think there's not enough horizon and they should have just cropped it out?
I was just gonna say that. I love that the horizon is. I kind of wish on the top right it wasn't kissing, but how it evens out with the water on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be the same if you came up and lost that water. So it's a really nice like full frame of the landscape, and I don't think you really need need much more.
Yeah, I think it could have gone one way or the other. Either like show it or like crop it out.
Yeah. Cool, Julie. Thanks for posting. All right, let's see if we can get to. If I'm scrolling by yours and you are here, but I want to get to. Bob is here and he posted this one. This is of Fort Worth, Texas.
I was gonna say that looks like Texas. It looks like Houston or Austin or Dallas or Fort Worth. Cool black and whites, Bob. I love that you included the cemetery structure. They're almost like their own sort of like what do you call
Towers.
it? Skyscrapers,
Yeah.
towers. Yeah. And then like there's an actual city behind them. So I love that juxtaposition. That's cool.
Yeah. I think that decision was also very smart. I mean, it would have been okay just to, if you were in front of those headstones, tombstones, and just got the bridge with the water and the buildings, but this is more of a story in this photo.
Totally. Very
Black
cool.
and white.
Very nice.
Yep.
Loving the contrast.
Yep. Let's see who else. Who's Shimmerlink? What's your name?
Shimmerlink.
I forget.
Ooh, that one's nice.
This one right here.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder
pretty cool.
if we know the exposure for that. Or the setting, sorry. 'Cause it feels like I can't tell on the screen maybe, but is the water fill like soft? Like
Yeah,
is it like
it does.
movement?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does look like a little soft, so it's probably somewhat of a long exposure.
Well, slower shutter speed.
Oh yeah,
But then
shot
everything's
taken
in
at sunrise
focus.
using long exposure on an iPhone.
There you go. On an iPhone. Wow. That's
iPhone.
ridiculous.
The lighting is so cool.
Yeah,
It's just the way it hits the rocks and then the way it hits the buildings. It's just so cool.
yeah. Very cool photo.
All right, Nancy is Shimmerlink.
Shimmerlink. Okay, this is a cool photo. I'm just gonna bring this up too. This
Oh,
another
yeah.
long exposure at night. Looks like they dropped the saturation for a bunch of colors except for like the reds, which is pretty cool.
Yep, teal and orange.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Let's see. Ian is here. Posted this one, and this is in Plymouth.
Oh, nice. Nice star effects from the lights. Cool reflections. It's one of those things with landscapes where I feel like for me, it's either you go big negative space, sort of like that past one we saw where there's all that water and the sky and a very small skyline, or you do something like this where you really fill the frame and you really like, border to border, have stuff in there, have the light on either side, a light in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice framing on the bottom.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I'm wondering, I've never been to Plymouth, so I don't really know what personifies Plymouth, if this is like the downtown local town square with this like fountain or whatever this is. It's a little bit like hard for me to tell like what am I looking at in this photo. There's no like clear subject or buildings or specific cityscape, but the ambiance is nice.
Yeah.
I passed a couple photos I guess. So
Does it say what F stop that was?
Say what?
Does it say what F stop that was? Sorry, my mic is awful.
F18. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I passed Chris's apparently and
Bill's. You just passed Bill's again.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Right there.
Oh yeah, here we go. Let me see. I want to read the description. Sorry. San Jose, 16 millimeter f5.0 ISO 800. Thank you for including the information. That's always super helpful. I'm kind of like, I wish the lines were straight. I don't know how you would have done that except for just like editing. And it would have just been like warped. So maybe that's not even a possibility in real life, but I would have probably taken this photo and used like the transform tool. I'm going to open this up in Lightroom.
Oh boy. We're going to get a live editing session. Let's go.
Let's see.
Let's
see what this looks like.
So while Phil does that, one thing with this, like there's so many interesting lines and the building reflections are really nice. Like you can see that other building in the glass there. The thing that happens for me here is that the sky, because it's cloudy or it's just so bright, that becomes a focal point. But it's just this sort of like white square, and so there's not a whole lot like to see there. So either it'd be to expose to that. I don't know if at sunrise you still had some colors in the sky, but to sort of expose to that, so everything else would be darker, but that focal point would be bright and like the thing in focus, or to frame it so that the focal point became fill the frame with more of the building, or something where just whatever that bright spot is, that's where the eyes are going to go. And so with this being so this wide sky, it misses that, or it just calls attention to that opposed to the cool reflections of the building for me.
Yeah. All right, so I'm bringing that into Lightroom, and so this, let's see. So there's this transform tool. I'm not sure if you're using Lightroom or something else, if whatever app you're using has the transform tool. Right now it's off, and so you get that sort of like tilted building look just from how that lens captures it. So to use this, you can just manually do it by clicking this little button right here, and you literally just draw lines on. I actually drew one on already. You follow a straight line. So say I want this building to look vertical in the photo, I can draw a line here, and then you have to draw a second one for it to actually work. So I'm finding two vertical lines, and then it kind of straightens that out.
Magic.
Is that better for you? Like, now we can't make every single line vertical or horizontal, or it's going to start to look funky. Like if I say, oh, well, I also want this line right here to be vertical or horizontal, that's getting a little abstract. And there are obviously lines when you're looking at things from different perspectives that are going to be tilted or whatever, but that might be something that I play around with.
Can you reset it and make the lamppost vertical?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see.
I feel like having the subject more vertical, and then everything else can kind of just like
fall off. Yeah.
Fall whatever that is.
So let's do
that's
this
how
lamppost.
Whatever you feel like is the most important thing in frame, unless you're trying to like say something, because as things are in the wider parts of the frame, see like that.
So even just doing that, I think works. Yeah. Maybe let's crop in just a little bit. Ian, I hope you don't mind us, or Bill,
with your
sorry. I hope you don't mind us playing around with your photo. But yeah, maybe just a crop and adjustment like that looks pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, just ideas to throw out. We don't know what we're talking about all the time, so you take what you want.
It's all how you want to approach your photos.
Yeah. So let's see. There was.
I go to the second one.
Oh, sorry. Second one.
Yeah, Prashanti.
Okay, I'll do that. Chris also said we missed his.
Oh yeah,
this is like classic shot. So that's good.
From the Bellagio, right?
I'm not
timing it with the water fountain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that
frame left to right. That's great.
Yeah, it's like on the Bellagio side. It's cool. It's like the reverse of Ocean's 11 or 8 or whatever that is.
I kind of wish there was a little bit more breathing room, like to the top of the
Eiffel
Tower, to the right of this thing on the right,
to the
left.
The entire what's it called? Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Maybe. But that sky in the background, the timing of this is so cool because there's like, instead of just darkness behind, there is this texture in the background, which is really nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
One thing I do want to say with Cityscapes, because I don't know if that was like the widest that they could go in there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you do want to go a bit wider, if you're using something like Lightroom or even other photo editing apps, you can do this. Instead of taking just the widest you can go, you could take a series of photos and take a panorama, and that way you can effectively get more, but with the same lens.
This is
and
cool
probably
shot.
Something like that's a panoramic. That's really nice.
Yeah, very crisp and clear too. Sharp photo.
That'd be a great print. This is where I feel like with landscapes or cityscapes, what the sky is doing impacts it so much. Mm-hmm. Like having that little bit of sunlight still breaking through. Oh, whose photo is that? That's really nice.
looks like
Yeah.
San
Great
Dimas.
photo.
That's what that
Wow.
looks
Oh, we just. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll just stay on that for a minute. Yeah, that's cool.
that's very
I was
cool.
trying to find a good cityscape in Claremont, and I'm like, oh, there's no like defining horizon shot. So I was like, I've been wanting to get this shot of downtown LA. Every time I like drive down the freeway, I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool shot like at sunset. So
Hmm.
finally got out there and did that one.
What was that with your 100 to 400?
Yeah, I was like at probably 300 or 350 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love long exposures with big telephotos. It does something really different feeling. Like I'm so used to long exposures with wide angle lenses.
Oh, cheater. They said that shot from the the Bellagio was a sky replacement. That's funny. We wouldn't have even known. That is funny. Here is this reminds me of going to spring training because Nancy posted this one from Tempe, Arizona. The Angels spring training stadium is right around there.
Nice. I like how the bridge sort of cuts through and there's this like above the bridge with the skyline and whatnot, and then below the bridge there's all this other stuff going on.
Yeah, this bridge in the background looks super cool. I think
Yeah.
like that one is definitely more interesting than this freeway one. I don't know how you could have gotten, over here somewhere to take the same shot, but with this cool kind of bridge. Would have been interesting, but very
I like the crop
flat look. Yeah. Cool. Are there any questions? Oh, Sam, I didn't know you posted one. Or maybe I did. Yeah, I liked it. I remember it.
It's an old one. It's an old one.
What's that for?
That's from Hawk Hill looking at San Francisco. So that's a Golden Gate Bridge going across the water there.
Yeah, that's dope.
What are the camera settings, bro?
Oh man, I have no idea what the camera settings were.
What camera was it?
That was my Sony A7R III with a 70-200 at probably around 200. It was at least a 10-second exposure, if not longer.
All right. Good stuff, Sam. Thank you for participating. I didn't see one from Will though.
Yeah.
While we Prashanthi, I think you posted, so I'll try to bring yours up. But while we do that, let me just show. Where's my thing? I had all of our supporters that I want to bring up. I'll have to find that in a second. But Prashanthi,
I did have a question I wanted to raise.
Here's the one.
But let's get to
Does it have to do with cityscapes?
Yeah, so this is
really.
when the sky is like not that interesting, but this photo taken at a different time would be epic. Like at night or long exposure at night or something. I don't know. Or what would you do with this photo?
I would say post-wise, you could really amplify this, like even if you made it black and white, but like add contrast, add clarity, add sharpness, level it out. Use a gradient filter on the sky and on the water and change the color. Like this is a compositionally, it's a really great shot. I think you can just add more to it in post if you wanted to.
Yeah. Those clouds do have some cool texture to them. I would almost crop it 16:9 and lose half of that sky. Make it more like a third water, a third cityscape, a third sky.
Yeah.
And then like Will said, probably punch it up a little bit with contrast and whatnot. Or like Phil said, at night or at sunrise or sunset when you get more directional light in there, that would add a lot of contrast as well.
Where are we? Is that Chicago or New York?
I think Chicago, yeah.
Prashanthi, do this one again. That's our challenge to you. Do this one again at a different time and see what the difference is. That's like one of the, kind of easiest ways to truly improve your photography. Just photograph at a different time. What I was trying to do, not that, was this.
Not that.
Thank you
Oh.
to all of our supporting members. We got a couple of new ones this week. Bill, thank you. You just joined our supporter crew. We super appreciate it. You are the ones that help us keep these live streams going every week. So thank you, Bill, John, Rachel, Bob, Ian, and Kenneth. We really appreciate it. I want to get your guys' if you have Instagrams or something. I don't know what's the best way to like thank our supporters. Maybe put out their Instagrams here or something. I don't know, or just a shout out.
Maybe on videos online, yeah, like posting their Instagram handles if they want followers.
Yeah,
that's
highlight
a good idea.
them in the
Or
community.
doing like a carousel with their most recent Instagram photo.
Is our thanks not enough?
I guess
not,
yeah.
no,
Shout out
no?
is all you
They're
get,
shouting my
all you
name,
need.
All the reasons.
All
and
the
because
reasons, all the
supporters,
reasons.
when we see all their questions and comments in Photography and Friends Plus sooner than later. So
Yeah.
I think Bill was even posting some stuff that I had posted yesterday, maybe, about new lenses.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good questions in the community. If anyone has questions to shout out to us now, just post in the comments. If you're watching on my channel or on the Facebook page group, head over to the Photography and Friends YouTube channel and chat with us there. Subscribe there if you haven't already, and that's easier for us to see those questions. But yeah, Sam, question for you. So do you have a new camera this week?
We laughed,
Actually,
but
Will tried to get me to buy a camera.
I did. I was trying hard to get him to buy this camera, but he didn't bite, and so I couldn't get my camera.
Although I did get, and it's ridiculous, but it's only because it's what I can do. I got an adapter for my Hasselblad to put on my I mount lenses.
Whoa.
And so I put on the 15 millimeter because I'm about to do this trip to Baja, Mexico, and the stars down there are incredible, and I want to do some night photography. But because of how it works, instead of it being a crop sensor lens on a full frame, it's a full frame lens on a medium format. So it's too small. And so the 15 millimeter, it's like almost a fisheye vignette around it. But because it's 100 megapixels, I'm just going to crop in a bunch and get rid of the vignette, which some people might frown upon. But it's going to work. It's going to work.
This is a good lens question from the community. Okay, so Andre asks, so they have a Nikon D7500. They've got the 35 millimeter 1.8, 50 millimeter 1.8, the 70 to 300, and the kit 18 to 55. And these are their options they're looking at: the 24 millimeter prime, 20 to 70, both the Tamron and the Nikon, and they're wondering which one they should go for, basically.
I would say, what are you taking photos of? If you really like primes, and it seems like you have the 35 and 50, and if you're enjoying those, 24 seems like a great option. That's a wonderful lens. That the 35 1.8 was my favorite when I had the Nikon. That being said, the 2070 Nikon is a very versatile. It's going to be a lot better than that 18 to 55 lens, and the quality will just supersede that. So if you like the 18 to 55, but the quality is not quite there, I'd get the 2070. That being said, if you like the approach of photography with the primes, get the 24.
Do you think that the 24 is like wide enough or different enough compared to that 35 to be worth adding to their kit right now? Or
no, but it'd be different enough from the 50. Like a 24 to a 50 would be
knocks out having a 55.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about doing documentary journalistic photo story stuff. Like, if you want to just bring your one camera out, maybe getting the 20 to 70 Nikon would be a great option. I would check out if you're doing landscape stuff and you're feeling like, because you only have a 35, I mean, you have the 18 to 55 kit lens, but you might want to go with something wider for your D7500, like a 16 millimeter 14. I don't know what's available for a Nikon, but
Yeah,
if you're
actually,
looking for a
that's a
prime.
really good point because like for the documentary journalistic stuff, I think the 35 or the 50 would be great for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But having a
Especially
really good like super wide angle um, would be a smart thing to have in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. If anyone is a member in Plus right now and has a question or a photo critique or something that you want us to look at, let us know. Right
Will
now,
you
we can bring it up.
will you go down? So the next question was the one I was going to ask from Muhammad Bayu Pratama.
Yes. Yep.
And it's a really technical one, but I think this is something important for people to understand just about full frame and APS-C and what that actually does to your image. Um, so when using a full frame lens on an APS-C camera, it's not only yes, it zooms in on that lens, but the depth of field, it is in a sense impacted because technically it's more zoomed in, and so there's going to be a shallower depth of field from that. So using a 50 millimeter full frame lens on an APS-C is going to be more similar to an 85 millimeter in the way of depth of field and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So the question or the example at the end, putting a 35 millimeter full frame lens on an APS-C camera. So the bokeh in the back will look different if you compared that same lens on a full frame camera. You would have to put on a 50 millimeter for it to be kind of similar or comparable. Is that what you're saying?
To match, yeah. So if you had a 35 millimeter f2, let's say, on an APS-C, the fall off and the field of view, like what you're able to see, is going to be closer to that of a 50 millimeter. But if you put a 35 millimeter on a full frame, the field of view and whatnot is going to change. I mean, I guess technically, well, yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as I talk through it, it's like getting convoluted in my head. But I'm like,
I guess I'm
pretty sure.
trying to understand, like, so they're also talking about like full frame made lenses versus lenses made specifically for crop or the
Yeah,
APS-C cameras. I don't know. I'm
I
not
mean,
that technical to know all the differences.
the only reason to really be doing that is if you start buying full frame lenses while you have an APS-C camera, is so that one day you will be upgrading from a crop sensor to a full frame sensor, and you won't have to sort of re-spend money on a lens system that you've already invested a ton of money in. And lenses and glass are such a great investment, right? Because the technology isn't moving as quick. Like you can always look through the glass and it'll always be great. I mean,
Yeah.
all of us all have old lenses that we've used and still use and just upgrade the camera.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to like handle the math or like understand that the full frame lenses on a crop sensor are going to be different.
Yeah.
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 But that's also to say, because I used to buy when I had a Nikon D80 for a long time, and I had crop lenses. I had the 35 1.8 and I had the 105, but the 105 was a full frame and the 35 was a crop sensor. So when I upgraded finally to my full frame Nikon, I could still use the crop sensor lenses because they're just shooting crop mode. But I realized like, oh, I want to get the full frame lenses now, and it's like this whole ordeal to transition over.
Yeah.
But
But if you're on the crop system and that's where you're going to be, that's fine. Like Phil's totally on APS-C sensor, and I was for a long time, and it's
yeah.
Yep.
it's
Absolutely.
perfectly great.
What's up, late joining from Ghana? Thank you for being here, watching on the Facebook group. Thank you. Anyone have questions or topics you want us to chat about? Otherwise, I'm going to pull up some photo critiques from the Plus page, or if there's any other questions you guys see or know of.
Yeah, let's get that Q&A on. You guys have any questions? Let's talk about cameras, talk about setups, talk about lenses we use, lighting, what Sam had for breakfast,
Yeah.
what camera we're using
Sam
right
was
now.
eating mushrooms, I think, the other
Yeah,
night,
I
according
think they're
to
on a mushroom
Instagram.
diet.
Listen, we got this really wonderful cookbook, and it's called Mississippi Vegan. My partner is from the South, and so we've been cooking a bunch of.
Mississippi vegan.
Yeah, we had like this mushroom gumbo, and last night we had this. My friend went and is a mushroom hunter, so he got these chanterelles, and we made a pasta with it. Yeah,
I
it's
know
good.
Did
I
you get
wasn't
out and do
invited,
some
but
mental photos of the mushrooms?
Mushroom tacos?
go on Jamie's Instagram. You'll
Yeah.
see. Sam, you got to post more stories about your trip to Baja. Okay.
Do I though?
I'm
Do I?
expecting. Yes.
Do I?
We want to know.
Yeah, my
We want to
question
know
is,
what's
on a
up.
van life trip down to Baja, what cameras are you taking with you?
Man, I've been trying to cut it down. I think I'm just gonna bring my Hasselblad with the 90 millimeter and also the 15 millimeter.
What about the Q2? What about your
I
daily camera?
know. I know. Well, because I want to walk around and go up to people and ask to take their portraits, and I want to do it with that setup. And if I have the option, then I'm going to always be thinking about the two. And it's like, no, at night I'll do the 15 millimeter long exposure, and during the day I'm just going to walk around with this honker of a camera and try and take portraits of people.
What a decision. I love it.
Less
We
is
got some
more.
questions popping in. Thankfully.
Let's go.
So, this is a good one for Will. Uli asks, how do
Oh,
you
boy.
create a perfect lighting with speed light for event receptions? How do you set up
Perfect.
white balance because the light from the speed light is cooler blue? Blah, blah, blah. Mixing colors.
So first of all, there is no perfect lighting. It's very all subjective. From a speed light, what I do is I have a diffuser that I put on top of the speed light that shoots up, and the diffuser is more of like a blimp, like a bulb, versus a bouncing sort of situation. And then it just depends on the event that you're shooting, right? In a room that has shorter ceilings that are white, it's actually better because the light ends up going and bounces on the ceiling and creates like a really soft exposure across all your folks that you're photographing. If your ceilings are really high or you're outside at an event, it's a little bit harder. So you have to figure out at what distance you are from them and where your speed light is sort of pointed. But the diffusion and the control of power from the flash is really how you're going to dial in what you think looks perfect. And as far as white balance goes, if you're shooting raw, you shouldn't have to worry about it. You're going to have to color it anyway. But to look in the camera, set it to flash, like, because the flash is going to be the overwhelming color in your photo. So I will set my camera to flash. And I actually created a user profile on my main camera for flash photography for that exact reason. And I just crank it over to there and all the settings are there. And then I just adjust the power on the flash when I'm shooting to, make it look perfect all the time, every time.
And ultimately, with doing event photography, going in and looking at the space and seeing what kind of lighting there is, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Will, but like, you don't have control over what the lighting is in the space. And so you might have that there's going to be really warm lights. You might have that there's really cool lights. Like, you don't really have any way to control that. And so positioning people, where you put them, how you set up your own, like where you're going to be using the flash because the flash is so much brighter typically than any event lighting. So you should be able to overpower that.
That's what's so great.
Sometimes. Yeah, go ahead.
That brings up like a really good point. That's what's so great about using a speed light or a strobe or a flash, is that now you have the ability to overpower what other crappy light is in there. So crank your flash up all the way, shoot at a high shutter, shoot at an f5 or an f5.6. I mean, and you can blow out everything else and just focus on your light. Or mix it, right? Bring down the power and let the background be orange and let the foreground be a white cooler. It kind of depends on the situation you're in. Every event is totally different. So
let me ask you this, Will. if have you ever gone to an event? There's a lot of orange lighting. So with lights, at least in the film world, we have gels, and so we can take a white light and it's a little thing of orange plastic, more or less. Would you ever put that on your speed light? Like if you know you're going to walk into an event and it's super orange light, like okay, let me put orange gel on there. Would you do
Totally.
that or yeah?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a world where like if you see like there's a live band or a live DJ and they've brought all these warm orange lights, like tinted orange lights. If you have a set of those gels that you can slide in over your speed light in between the light and the flash unit, you can balance out that light and then sort of white balance or correct to the overall orange. Now that's pretty specific, and everything will then be uniform. I, however, wouldn't do that. I would still balance to the flash because I think knowing that it's a party and having a mix of a bunch of different colors looks like a party and it's a little bit more interesting. But if your event is like, like a party for doctors and like you don't want it to have all these like crazy colors and you want it to be a uniform, clean look, that's definitely a good way to do it. And in fact, I think Very in our supporter section, she had bought a Godex speedlight and it came with all these different plastic colors. And she was like, "What are these for?" And that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah.
So good call, Sam.
Yeah. And then also, with the flash and everything, a big part of this is also if you have just overhead lights, like at a conference, you just have these big overhead lights, everyone gets these horrible shadows. The whole point of with the speed light to use that diffuser Will was talking about is to get soft light. It's not to get like really contrasty direct light on anyone. Like the whole point is to diffuse, make it really nice and balanced, and get better lighting on people, just to make it look a little bit softer.
Right. If you think about light as water, and the light coming out of your flash is like just a stream of water coming through, it's going to hit a target very specifically, which will leave everything else dry. And so one part will be really wet, and one part will be really dry. Now, if you shoot that stream of water through like a filter or what's a diffuser, like on the flash, it'll spread out all that water and it'll hit
Whoa.
everything evenly.
Whoa. Well,
Plus,
whoa. Whoa.
Wow.
you see, I've been working on my lighting course
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, I can tell.
You're welcome.
Dang.
See you later.
Next level examples, that imagery we're going to need to create for that class. That's great. I like it. Well, Uli, thank you for that question. Hopefully that answered it. Pretty good. We've got one from Denise asking about the difference between close-up setting on a Canon Rebel and focusing close-up manually. I was doing a little bit of research while Will was explaining in depth about lighting techniques, about this close-up setting. I haven't used a Canon in a while, so it seems like there's a close-up setting where it's sort of like an automatic mode. Sort of, they have like portrait, sports, close-up setting, and it will automatically adjust your aperture and to, it seems like a wider open aperture to get a shallower depth of field for close-up objects. I don't think it has anything to do with focusing though, Denise. I'm not 100% sure, but I guess the next question would be, would you want to manually or do autofocus for like close-up photography? I guess it depends on the subject, if they're moving.
I've had instances where I'm trying to focus on something really close, and because I'm so close, the camera goes and all of a sudden it's focusing way back there, but I'm just trying to get that like, tree branch that's really close.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'll do is manually focus close, because it's more precise than the camera. Like I'm trying to autofocus close and all of a sudden it's going far. I'm like, no, stay close, stay close. So I just manually focus to the closest point, and then I just move back or closer to get it in focus. Because I'm trying to do like really, really shallow depth of field, close stuff. But that's for me personally. I mean, everyone's different, but I would recommend close focusing manually, personally.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes, when I find to try manual close up, I can't find the I can't get the aperture.
I tried to manual close up.
I don't know what you mean by that, Denise. I can't get the aperture. Let us know if you have more info though, because we got another question. This one's from Facebook. If you had only one lens for a photo shoot, would you go with the 50 1.2 or the 85 1.2? I mean, depends on the photo shoot.
I had only lens for a photo shoot. We go with 50 minutes.
85.
50 because I'm on crop sensor.
Oh, is it crop sensor?
No, that's for me. I'm saying it depends on the camera, I guess, because
Yeah. Also, like, what's the photo shoot? Yeah.
yeah, probably
Is
depends.
it 2 people? Then 50.
Are you
Is
shooting
it one
bugs on
Is
the
it inside?
leaves?
Is it outside?
85.
Are they horizontal or vertical?
If it's an 85, don't shoot
If
at
I was
1.2.
giving you, if I was like Sam and Will, right now I have a bunch of extra money. I'm gonna give you the 85 or the 50 1.2. Which one do you want?
For our
For my
camera system?
Yep.
God, that's both our question.
Well, I have a 90, so I'd want the
Don't.
50.
No. You don't have any lenses.
Oh.
Oh.
Are we talking
Yeah.
about medium format or full frame? Or crop sensor?
Okay, guys. Okay, next
50.
question.
50. It's more versatile if for whatever
Ooh,
situation.
okay. It's full frame or no full frame. No full frame meaning it's not full frame, and
No
it's a
full
mixed
frame.
family and newborn. 50.
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you do the family, I would do a higher f-stop to get everyone in focus. Don't shoot the 50 at 1.2 because no one's going to be in focus.
Oh, this is a good question. Okay.
Oh, it is full frame. Yeah, so 50 for sure.
This is a good question. Ryan asks, my son's musical is coming up and I'd like to get a few shots on stage. They'll be back in the back dark room. What settings would you recommend? Aperture priority? They normally shoot manual.
I'll be in the back dark room. What setting? I guess, is it for of the performance or of behind the scenes? Like as
I'm
they're getting
guessing
Him
on
on
stage.
stage.
Yeah, on stage,
Oh,
like their son on stage. So how do you shoot like from a big distance, a big bright stage, basically with people on it?
If I were doing that, and I have done that, and I used to do that when I was in high school, I had to shoot a lot of the plays and stuff. I'd say if you can get it 70 to 200 and aperture priority, and then just understand and know how far you can push your ISO, because it will be bright on stage, and you probably still want to have a high shutter because they'll be moving and stuff. But being able to adjust your aperture on the fly and let the camera do everything else so you're not thinking about it or missing a moment.
I mean, if it's sorry, Sam, if it's like on stage though, like the lighting is going to be fairly consistent, right? So would you just for like a play,
depends
for
on
like
the
a
scene.
musical?
But
Well,
it depends on what's...
a musical denotes dancing, like
Mhm.
big changes in lighting.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know,
That's
like
true.
very hot. Like the thing with theater lighting is they're park hands, right? So it's like, and Source 4s, they're like harsh lighting all
Yeah.
at once and then fall off immediately because there's no
Yeah.
like diffusion in light. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Like it'd be cool if you could watch a wedding rehearsal.
Yeah, I would say if you can go to a rehearsal or talk to your son and say, okay, what is like your moment, or what are the moments you have on stage, and know when those are going to be.
Yeah.
Because you want to be there for when he's like front and center or going to be in that spotlight, like in that main thing.
Yeah.
You're shooting with a 75 to 300, so I'm assuming that's like a 4.5 to 5.6 or a 4.5 to 6.3. So what I would do beforehand is take your camera. If you know your camera, let us know right now. But go to 300, which will probably be at f6.3 or so. Put it at shutter speed 121 over 125, which I would probably say that's as slow as I would go. And then take a bunch of test shots at ISO 400, 800, 1600, 3200. Put them in your computer and see how it looks. Because yeah, rehearsals, they won't have all the stage lighting going.
I mean, or just
light.
take some practice shots at the very beginning when the lights are down. Also, like if you are using aperture priority mode, make sure you're comfortable with the exposure compensation, because your camera might try to. It might be like a solo. I don't know what the lighting is. I'm just imagining like maybe it's just like a single spotlight on your son or whoever, but your camera is going to want to brighten everything up. So you might need to drop your exposure compensation so that the camera is not trying to overcompensate, raise the ISO to get everything in exposure or brighter exposure.
If you do aperture priority though, go into your camera and figure out for the ISO, if it's going to be automatic, you can typically set the maximum ISO that you want it to go.
Yeah.
And make sure you set that. Make sure you say, okay, you can go from 100 to 6400 or whatever it is. Like test your camera, know what ISO is going to look good. With a Canon T7, I probably wouldn't go beyond 3200, but I would test it. And then also with the shutter speed for aperture priority, you can go to the menu settings and select the slowest shutter you would allow it to go, which I wouldn't go less than 1/60th, realistically probably 1/100th, just to try and get crispy if they are moving and that kind of thing. But you should have plenty of light. It's a play. It's not like it's not a dark film set or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. That's a great question. If there's any there were a couple questions. If there's any more, so Ryan, well, just a follow up. Ryan says, would you recommend using auto ISO? I typically set mine on the fly.
Set the parameters.
Yeah, exactly.
Set the parameters because auto ISO can work great, but you don't want it going above what you're comfortable at, taking photos at.
Yeah. Couple quick updates for the next few weeks. So before we get to any last questions, this week's challenge is frame within a frame. So get out there and do your frame within a frame photos. We've got some people posting. And just to clarify, so the way the schedule works, there's not really a specific schedule, but we post these challenges on Monday. And then we do our live streams on Thursdays, and we'll be talking about the previous week's challenge on our live stream. So, for example, this photo challenge, frame within a frame, was posted on Monday, and we'll be talking about that next week. Speaking of next week, the next couple weeks, Will is going to be gone on some shoots. So Sam and I are going to be holding down the fort. We're going to aim for doing next week. He's going to be living the van life in Baja, Mexico, and we'll make sure we test it out. And so we might take off a week next week or the following week. But other than that, there's been some great chat discussions in the Plus community. So if you're not a part of it, definitely check it out. It's free to join. Big shout out to some of the people who are being very involved. Kenneth, Norman, lots of people, Chris, and of course our moderators. Huge shout out to our moderators, Viola, Gianluca, Cademan, all of our OGs who are continuing to help and be active in there. We really, really appreciate it. So this is the kind of stuff that you can see in Plus. There was one question. I wanted to bring up stock photography. So this was another one in Plus. Is stock photography worth it?
I don't know. I think
I've never really focused on it, so
I don't think any of us have, because I don't know. I feel like stock photography takes a ton of patience and a ton of consistency. Mm-hmm. So if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and, let it go over the next year or two, it can be worth it. Yeah. But it does require like everything, it requires work.
And I think that the biggest thing now is like to stay on top of trends. Like at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, like 2 months later, every stock photography site had just a ton of photos of people in masks in all settings, in work, in office, in hospital, everywhere. So like for any sort of trending topic, worldwide global event, holidays, those are the things you have to pay attention to, because there's photos of everything now that people can find. So you have to be more unique than just being able to capture a nice photo of something. So
and diverse in your portfolio in general.
Diverse people. Yeah.
But if you want to be on that hustle, I mean, we don't do it just because I think we all have our other streams of income and the things that we're doing as professionals.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think if you want to be like, okay, I'm going to be, I'm going to do stock photography and I'm going to just fill out the market for, mental health. And you just take a bunch of photo shoots and you set up those types of things and you build it out and you put on multiple stock photography sites, you can make some money from that. Are you going to make like a full-time salary? Probably not. You could, but probably not. But can you make some side cash? Absolutely. And the deeper you get into it, the more you'll understand it. But if you have an interest in it and you want to do it and you want to set it up, by all means,
I mean,
go take
I think it's
photos.
like any other photography is like worth it. It's like however many hours you're putting into it on a daily basis is what you're going to get out of it eventually. So if you're
Yeah.
putting 8 hours in stock photography, if you're putting 8 hours into advertising that you're a portrait and wedding photographer, if you're putting 8 hours into going and finding real estate photography, it will be worth it in the end. But there's a very like similar equation to all types of photography,
Yeah.
and it depends on where you are in the world. So.
That makes me want to hear from anyone who's listening right now or in the future. What wins do you have from your photography journey so far or this week? Was there anything that happened over the past week that you were excited about? A shoot that you did, a way you got a client, a certain photo that you took? Let us know in the comments right now if you had any wins, tips, advice for other new photographers, anything like that. I would love to hear it. Will, other just updates before we close out for the day. Will is finishing up the wedding photography course. Should we tease what we're going to be doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, you do it then. Take the floor.
So I've been updating our current wedding photography course that has been up for like what, 5 years, maybe 4 years. Huge update. And so if you've already purchased it, eventually it's going to come through Udemy. But in the meantime, if you want a first look at it, we're going to put it on sale and include a 4-week boot camp where we'll be having meetings about wedding photography. Where we'll keep it at a cap. We haven't decided how many people, but like Zoom meetings where we can basically have one-on-one conversations about wedding photography as you're doing the course. And that's going to last over a month or two. We're still working out the schedule. And then it will be re-released into the world as a normal class. So you'll be able to see it. So either way, the update's going to be great, but we're going to test out sort of like boot camp discussion weekly thing for wedding photography. It's going to be awesome. And the update itself is like aggressively better.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's amazing to see how many more weddings you've shot over the past 5 years, and even obviously your photography has gotten better. So that'll be super interesting, and we're excited to test out this sort of cohort bootcamp model for the launch of this course. So early access to the full course plus access to Will, who will sort of act as your mentor for a month or two. We're still planning it out, but look out for that announcement, I guess.
Yeah,
in a couple weeks.
And in a couple, probably in a week or two. And these sessions are going to be like we'll have actual discussions with what I want to make sure that you guys get and understand, but also we'll be able to go around the room and see where everyone's at, target what you need to get done, what you have questions about. I think a big thing with wedding photography is not just the technical. There's a lot of like business that has to do with it. There's a lot of post editing stuff that has to do with it. There's just a ton of stuff. So
it's going to be cool. I am working on a course that's actually launching on Udemy and everywhere else next week. I partnered with this guy, Dan, who's great at YouTube and social media, and we're doing a shorts and reels course. So that will be interesting for anyone who's interested in doing using shorts, reels, and stories specifically for social media. So you might be interested in that if you're into photography. So look out for that announcement.
Nancy, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do have a portrait course, but just like the wedding course, it is outdated and old, and that is in the line of things that I want to redo at some point after I do the wedding, after we do a lighting course. The portrait would come in family soon.
Yeah, I mean the portrait course, you have the beginner's portrait course. And all this, you can see now I added links. If you're on Plus, if you go to the courses page, it's super easy to find all of our courses here. So you have, here's the beginner portrait photography course. But yeah, we should do sort of a fuller one. A lot of it seems like it's very similar to what you're teaching in the wedding photography course and
Yeah,
in your portrait sections, but it'd be nice to have it specific to family and stuff like that too. So
and in studio, out of studio, lots of stuff we can do.
yeah. And then you're also thinking about doing a lighting course coming up. So lots of fun stuff happening in the future. Someone was asking, so we're using a tool where we can see all the comments and they're asking where are the other questions coming from? They're not on this chat. Yeah, so we are tuning in mostly to the Photography and Friends YouTube channel stream. So we're streaming on both platforms just to get as many people watching this as possible. But head over for the next one, head over to the Photography and Friends YouTube channel. That's where we are interacting more, and it's easier for us to see who's asking the questions and what the questions are. And last, another thanks to our supporters. You can join, support us for $5 a month as a way to say thank you over on Plus. And there's just a supporters page over there as well. So if you're on Plus, hit the, I think if you hit the supporters page, it'll take you to an option. You're not supposed to see this because only supporters see this. But if you click become a supporter up at the top, that's where you can join too. All right, gentlemen, friends, family.
Cool. Thanks, Phil.
Good
Thanks
stuff.
for being here.
Happy Valentine's Day if you're celebrating. If you're not, come over to Plus. We'll be here to share some love with you. We'll be your Valentine.
Yeah, good luck on your project, Will.
Yeah, wait.
Thanks.
So where are you going next week? Are you traveling?
Next week, I will be in Washington, D.C. I'll actually potentially be shooting at the Pentagon and some other places, working on a documentary.
Dope. Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm excited.
Sam, look forward to hearing from you in Mexico, and I'll be holding down the fort at home.
I'll try and post more on Instagram, keep you updated.
And on Plus.
And on Plus.
All right. Bye,
See
everyone.
everybody.
See ya.
Bye.